You're not even shooting the tires, but you want to shoot the driver. Why?
But what was annoying me is the fact that he was coming from school. And the following year, he was supposed to join me in Geneva.
In the car, there was that music. When disaster strikes.
This was a car we was using for his own transport to a class.
We dearly miss him. We miss him. He was a good guy.
Side of the lower parts of the abdomen.
James Ocholo Odhiambo was gunned down in a highway gun drama, and the National Police Service, at the time the Kenya Police Force, branded him a carjacker. It wasn't until several months later that the police force owned up and arrested 3 of its own. Tonight on Case Files, our son Jordan concludes. To his family was James Hilary Angawo Odhiambo Ochola. The towering figure was a famous basketball player on campus. Frida Brown, at the time a director at the university, recalls hearing about the 4th-year student in university circles.
We have and have always had a good basketball team. So he was a great basketball player, and that's how he got the nickname Jordan, because they said he was like Michael Jordan. You know, he could jump high, and people really enjoyed the way that he played. So a lot of the students knew him, they liked him. Back in '98, we probably had about 2,000 students, so we were a lot smaller. So most students knew each other, and it was probably even more close-knit than it is now.
On campus, James Ochola was Jordan, a nickname the family had no idea about.
I remember he came to visit me once, and it was pretty cold. He came during winter. So he was wearing this, like what are they called? Those hats that you cover your head with. And he had a T-shirt that said, "Keep Hope Alive," or whatever it is. So I'm like, why are you saying "Keep Hope Alive"? He's like, hey, I'm going to be here for a month with this kind of cold. I have to keep hope alive. And, so he always had this sort of funny sense of humor that, you had to have a pretty good sense of humor for you to find him funny.
James Ochola became a victim of a trigger-happy group of police officers on a dangerous adventure whose motive has remained unclear 18 years later.
The guy I have lost, and he loved this place. Sharks. He had organized to bring his friends in April. Then he died in July. But I had to say to him, you wait for me to come from safari. Then I can go there and help you. So he just went and told his friends. My mom feels she should be there. Looks like you'll never see my child. Maybe you'll come when I'm dead. There's this thing of death. This thing of death. The day I die, my burial, like a president.
The officers had a perfect story for the court. According to their lawyer, the slain university student was a carjacker shot and killed after a successful robbery in the central business district.
In fact, one could have said they should have been shot anyway. But they were arrested, and I think it was like a red-handed situation. The only excuse they gave was they were chasing up, they were on duty, and that they did this as part of their duty of tracing hijacked cars.
Prosecution lined up 29 witnesses in the high-profile murder. Police officers meant to protect lives and property had turned into the takers of the same lives. Prosecution told the trial judge that James Ochola had no reason to die in the hands of police officers. The 24-year-old man the prosecution charged was a diligent student and sportsman. He was not a carjacker, let alone a highway robber. The prosecution first constructed an alibi of the business administration student at the USIU days before he was gunned down. On Friday, 3 days before his murder, James had spent most of his time with his girlfriend, Julie Wanjiru, whom he picked up in his father's Land Rover and later joined other friends in Westlands for a night out. On Saturday, James and Julie spent the whole day at Ngomo Estate, the family house of the slain student, before leaving for an evening drive along Gong Road and again in the company of his friends. The two parted ways at 1 a.m. Sunday morning after a night out in Westlands area. On Sunday, the prosecution told the trial judge there was no evidence of what Jordan or Jim did the whole day, but according to the sister, the brother was in constant communication with her. She was returning home after a long stay in Geneva.
He wanted a linen suit, white or cream. And he kept asking me to watch Boys to Men because he was saying, I want exactly like the one in Boys to Men. So I remember that very evening rushing to the shops because the shops were closing at about 9. I rushed to town to buy the suit. So I got the suit, and of course he never got to see the suit. It was horrible. I mean, for me it was the worst experience I've ever had in my life, because what made it even more difficult is I would have liked to travel back with my mom because she was in London for a meeting. So I'd have liked to travel with her, but I couldn't change my ticket. So she ended up traveling before me. So I was feeling sort of like if I had traveled with her, I would have been able to deal with the situation better. And, at least I would have been next to her. But I came on my own, landed at the airport. I had a whole family, policemen, all sorts of people waiting for me at the entrance of the plane. And for me, I think that's the worst feeling I've ever had in my life, because I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what was expected of me. Everybody's crying, you're trying not to cry,
But unknown to James, that evening a person had called the flying squad hotline number to inform the police that the very motor vehicle James had used to move around for 3 days since Friday had been stolen. The owner, James Ochola's father, told case files the motor vehicle had not been reported stolen. The Land Rover discovery was in safe hands of his son.
Because the story was not that he had any stolen car. This was the mother's car. This was a car he was using for his own transport to a class.
This car stayed in Namanga for almost a month, no clearance. And in Namanga it had TZ number. This is Tanzania, because that's where I worked. And that's where I was driving it. So we used to go with Jim at the border to sort it out.
But the defense charged that a police officer had indeed received a call from a city resident who claimed he had witnessed a carjacking incident in the central business district. A police officer told the court the voice of the caller was shaky and panicky. James was shot dead after an evening class at the United States International University. The National Police Service claimed Ochola was a carjacker who had dropped at gunpoint the owner of a motor vehicle in the central business district. Police claimed they had received a call from a witness who saw the carjacking take place in the city and gave chase. But it would later emerge that police had made up the story of the alleged carjacking incident. Rogue flying squad officers staged the supposed robbery but carried out the actual murder.
Question of apology was irrelevant to me and my family. Giving, accepting was not on the agenda at all. We would accept condolences in general. The police did not owe us any condolence. All we expected from the police was thorough investigations, proper documentation of whatever is investigated, and justice must be done.
The prosecution advanced a case of a trigger-happy police department. On the other hand, the defense maintained the killer cops were defending property. Ironically, the property the cops were defending belonged to the person they had now gunned down. Case Files takes a short break.